My name is Lukas and I am the service user representative from Herefordshire and I am 3 years clean from polydrug misuse. Throughout my life, obviously, there's not been a lot of good. Me and my younger sibling, we started out with quite a horrific situation as kids. My younger sibling was born with fetal alcohol syndrome and I was withdrawn at birth from opiate addiction straight away. And then, unfortunately, through violence and neglect, we were taken by the police and put into foster care. And, you know, that in itself is bad. We a lot of mental health problems growing up, struggled to sort of fit in, always had a bit of a temper as a child, so I struggled to engage with anyone. And we were adopted by a family who, as supportive as they could be, they were unfortunately not a good fit. And so I ended up on the streets as quite a young person and ended up into addiction very quickly. I found drugs to be the only thing that would get me through you know, those years and the way I was feeling. I spent a lot of time on the streets, homeless, and then was luckily saved by a service who I had a friend that worked there, and she was my key worker in the hostels that I used to live in, and she sort of found me on the streets and wanted to help and dragged me off and put me into a new hostel. And that's sort of where my life started to progress again. I got my own place, I went back to college, and then I met my real family, and then unfortunately that's when things took another dip. I ended up back on, you know, drugs, but this time quite seriously, and it ended in being arrested and being involved with quite a bad conspiracy case. And I'd lost everything. I'd lost friends through deaths from drugs, and I'd lost all sort of family and any kind of hope to be anywhere good in life, you know. And then so after the arrest, I literally had two choices. It was either fight a bit more and try and make something of myself, or just completely give up. And luckily I chose to fight, and I ended up moving into Hereford, a few hours away from where all the problems were, and found Turning Point. Or, well, no, they found me, actually, which was quite brilliant. And they were the first recovery service that I'd been involved with that actually got me to where I am now, so, yeah. So I was involved with a few recovery groups, focus groups, and I was also volunteering in food banks just to sort of, you know, have something to do with my time. And there was a lovely lady called Helen who worked for Turning Point, and she set up a little music group for people in service, and I became a part of that group. And from there, she realised how passionate I was about sort of being in the world of recovery and, you know, using it as my way of getting through into living a proper life. She saw potential in me that no one else really saw, and she was very persistent and offered me a service representative role and gave me responsibilities that I hadn't had before. And so, yeah, when I say that Turning Point found me, it's kind of all because of that lady, who I can't thank enough. It's just their complete want to have service users recovered, but not only recovered, they want to help them start a life, and have given me every opportunity that I could have asked for to make that happen. They're the first service that, you know, it kind of is more like a family than an actual service. You know, they're brilliant. My whole life now revolves around service user involvement, so it's, but you know, Turning Point as a service, from the very get-go, they encourage it, you know, whether that's just having control over your own recovery path with medications, you know, time schedules, there's no pressure, all the way up to giving you the opportunity to actually have a say in how the service is run, and I think that's a huge step forward in the way that these services are run, because there's no better way of having a service run than having the people using that service, you know, having control over it. So service user involvement, anyone who is far enough along in their recovery path to want to be involved can be, and that can be at any level, whether it's just, again, like I said, controlling their own recovery paths, or whether they actually want to have a say in the service. What would I tell 19-year-old Lukas? I would probably slap him a couple of times and tell him that there is actually a life out there if you just put the effort in. No matter how much negativity you have had in your life, there's always a way of turning it around. So don't give up.